Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary and I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay. This time it is a Terran versus Terran on Daybreak. Yeah, this is Daybreak. And we have Muex in the bottom left corner playing the blue Terran, and the top right we have Voltage, red Terran. Both of these players are Diamond, mid-Diamond. I don't know anything personally about them except that they like to ladder, I guess, and play Terran. I do know a lot about Daybreak, though. Daybreak's a pretty cool map. Medium ramp leading down into the natural. It sits right here. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the main base. And then you have destructible debris, which can widen the ramp leading down to the common ground, as well as a branching pathway leading down to the two optional thirds. You've got a third here, which is very exposed because you have a pathway leading away from your home base. And then another third that you could take over in this corner, but it is even more exposed with multiple ramps leading out of it. Usually this one ends up being the fourth, and people go for this kid right here. We have an SCV coming out from Muex, which looks like he's trying for some cheese, or at least a proxy barracks. Throw this down. It's not directly on Voltage's front door, but the timing is so comparable that both barracks are going to go up at the same time. I'd be interested to see what add-on goes onto that barracks. It could be that with another SCV coming out, he's going to join up with that other barracks and build another one, and we'll have a two barracks harass or early pressure. See that the refinery's coming down for Muex in his main base, while the barracks is finishing up without a refinery being built for Voltage in his. Pretty standard opening for Voltage. The barracks finishes up now, and immediately a tech lab gets dropped down. So a tech lab means maybe a Reaper harass. If he throws down another barracks, we might see Marauders with a bunch of Marines. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not super familiar with all the finer parts of cheese, except that provolone and mozzarella is delicious. Did you see what I did there? I think you did. Bunker going down, great idea to complete that wall off with the barracks located there. You don't really want to put it here because the add-on will be very vulnerable. So a bunker there, and then maybe another supply depot down yonder will complete that wall off. We do see concussion shells and a Marauder being built. This SCV is coming down, being chased by a Marine, which saw it scouting through the Zelnaga tower. So an SCV and a Marine come down, discover the cheese. That Marauder is going to clear it up, but the element of surprise has been taken from Muex whenever he's trying for that cheese. Wall off is completed, bunker is up, and a command center is going down. So it looks like Voltage is not super worried about this cheese, even though he scouted it already. I would be intimidated by 2 or 3 Marauders, which are going to be knocking on my door. You can see a third one is being built right now. Muex trying to build a bunker on the low ground, but unfortunately it's within range of that bunker, and so it goes down. These 3 Marines pushing out, they're not going to be able to take down 2 Marauders, but they can take down 1. And they can push back. If they manage to take down that SCV, then this cheese is definitely in bad shape. The Marauder kills the last Marine as it's pushing back. Couldn't make it back to the bunker. Command Center's going to get finished up soon, but I don't know if Voltage is feeling confident enough to push down and take his primary expansion. Another barracks comes down to supplement the sheer amount of units as Marauders just keep pushing up. We've got 3 on the field right now, and finally a Reaper being built, which will be great because that can split up Voltage's standing forces instead of allowing Muex just to cart in and out of the main base and hurt people. You can have a Reaper pop up around here or maybe over here and make its way to the mineral line and draw forces away from the front. Factory come down right next to the barracks, which is dropping out the reactor. The reactor's probably for the barracks, and a factory for Muex back in his home. He knows that this cheese is probably going to be short-lived if it lasts much longer, and the factory back home means that Muex is probably looking to re-macro, get back in the game. He's definitely delayed this expansion, but it's also cost him quite a bit to build that unit. 3 Marauders poking at the front while the Reaper does some damage to the tech lab. He wants to prevent any research from being going up on that barracks, so this Reaper is forced to fall back as the SCVs swarm around him. can see that a Hellion's being built here, but the reactor evidently is for the barracks, which is probably a good bet with those Marauders on the field, and their Marauders slow. They were going to make short work of those Hellions. This Tech Lab gets in the red and is burning, and none of the SCVs are going to put out the fire, which is a bad thing. So that's going to go down unless, yep, Voltage just lets it go down. Does not save it. Decides to throw down another Tech Lab. That was probably worth it for the Reaper to go in, even though it got surrounded by those SCVs. You can see that the factory built a Tech Lab and then switched it out to the starport, which is now creating Banshees with Cloak. Another form of harassment, just to keep Voltage confined to that base. If Voltage really wanted to, he could power up a standing force and push back this force, which is only still being supplemented by a single Rax. Same time, Muex, though, he's got his command center down. This is morphed into an orbital command, so Voltage is able to double up on those mule creations, and definitely isn't as hurt economically as everyone else would be in this situation if you only had one command center. But with this command center being completed, if Muex can continue to keep Volt confined, then he will be in a good position. Factories pumping out siege tanks. As we saw, the first Banshee is out. Looks like it's going to take a circuitous route into the northwest side of the base to do some damage to those probes. Volt finally pushes back Muex all the way back to the barracks, which is going to have to either go down or lift off and make its way back to the base. This single Marauder is not going to outrun these Marines. So they push in. Barracks does lift off. Tech Lab will go down. Vikings coming out, which is an interesting choice. Maybe he suspects that Banshees is going to be the follow-up. Maybe he did a scan, noticed it in one way or another. We have one Viking up and we have one Banshee in the base. Very quick reactions by Voltage, grabbing all the SCVs away from the Banshee, not the ones that are close to it. Focus firing the SCV that was building the missile turret down. And unfortunately, there's not enough energy for the scan. There is enough energy down here. It's surprising that he's waiting for it. It could be that he's waiting for Stim to finish, which is very, very close. Scan goes down, forcing the Banshee over to the other end, which does not have a missile tower up. We can see that the saturation here for Volt is very good, but that's because there are no SCVs mining up here. Again, the SCV goes down, building the missile turret, and his men have to cart around. He finally gets enough energy for a scan. Scan goes down, and Marines pick off that Banshee. You can see another one has already been created. Those two missile turrets are not being built right now. Really needs to finish those, get much more detection up. Finally, they've been picked up again, but each one of those scan costs 300 minerals last time I checked. And so these Banshees, if they can keep forcing a scan and picking off a couple of SCVs, will prove to be very cost effective. Banshee's moving in, gets hit by that missile turret. He sees it's up, finds that sweet spot where he can still pick on the SCVs and still do damage. See another Banshee waiting in the wings. Marines rush in, force the cloak, but he hasn't forced the scan yet, partially because Volt does not have enough energy yet. He's only a couple seconds away from getting that energy, and this Banshee still has plenty of energy to remain cloaked. He's picking off all the Marines. Scan goes down. These guys are on move command, but these guys were on kill the Banshee command, and they succeeded in taking it down. But you can see that with the unit counting station 39 to 31 SCVs, that's quite a difference in the amount of money that they're pulling in. Actually, let's just look at the income tab. 16 to 11. That's a lot of money. These Banshees, they're expensive, but they're doing a lot of damage, and they're keeping Volt confined, and his standing army is smaller than the standing army that Muex has out right now, most notably the tanks. Volt's really just forcing Volt, Muex is really forcing Volt to deviate from the path he wants to take. These Vikings could be incredibly effective, but there's just not enough detection to go around. He has a starport up. He's got a Tech Lab right here. He could start building a Raven to get mobile detection, or he could start saving those scans and take out those Banshees as soon as they actually show up. Having a more Marine heavy force would really really helped him. Another scan goes down, another Banshee goes down. I don't see any more on the way, but we did see that there was one back here. Checking the mini-map. I do not see it. Oh, there it is. Two of them right here. So these two, if they decide to split up, could do some more devastating damage. We've got two missile turrets there, but only one here, so he could definitely position them here, take out those reactors, take out more SCVs. Regardless of his choice, those Banshees can definitely be a thorn in Volt's side. However, Volt has managed to get up a pretty sizable army, while at the same time those Banshees push in. If Volt does make it down, he's going to find that there is a sizable army of MGGMuex's own there, and he's been mining fully off of that natural expansion. Banshees come in, start taking out more SCVs. The unit counting station 47 to 32. You can just really see that damage that Volt has taken from MGGMuex's harass. It's really done quite a number on him. He's just not been able to snap back. He's got the energy for the scan, but with the energy being down here, while these guys were obviously kiting up there, and the Marines just being out of position weren't enough to take even one of them down. It looks like Volt has been taking down the rocks right here and is preparing to move up, but with a scan he sees the force. He just doesn't have the army to take it down. He can't force it down. He can't punish Volt while Volt is he can't punish MGGMuex while Volt is taking such heavy hits in the middle of his base from these Banshees, which is really just killing him. It looks like the starport lifts up, take down the tech lab, which went down from the factory. And he's probably, once that tech lab goes up, I hope he's going to build a Raven, because this cloak Banshee harass is just absolutely killing him. It looks like with MGGMuex targeting down the siege tanks, he's probably getting ready to push out himself. Good scan this time with the Marines perfectly positioned and ready to stem. Does a great number. Actually, there were so many Marines there they could take down all of them, and then you can see that Volt is building a Raven. But this intimidating force from MGGMuex, this siege tank Marine composition with a single Banshee thrown in the mix just for added damage per second, is going to shortly arrive at the front door of Volt's house. Two more Banshees come in, take down one of the remaining siege tanks. I think only one remains, and it is inside a medevac right now, not sieged. A third Banshee arrives, but it's not cloaked. The Vikings react quickly and take those down, but MGGMuex's standing force arrives. They're with the siege tank in the medevac. It's not sieged, so MGGMuex is going to be able to get his entire Marine line up without taking any of that additional damage. There's no structures in place to defend Volt, so MGGMuex just 1As into the main base. It was a good reaction from MGGMuex to only build the one barracks and the tech lab. I was surprised that he went with Marauders, but he made it work. And the Reaper was really good, especially with targeting down the tech lab, because you never know what's going to be researched there. And if it was STEM that was only a couple seconds away from finishing, then that would have been even more devastating than what happened. The tech switch over to Banshees was a lot more effective than it should have been. Extra detection could have mitigated that, and saving up the energy, or even using the energy as soon as it became available, or using it better with Marines' better position, could have handled that. It looked like Volt hadn't encountered that as much as you might expect. Maybe it was a new thing for him to run across. MGGMuex definitely knew what he was doing with that harass. I enjoy watching people who really know what they're doing, so to me that was a good game. I'm interested to hear what you guys thought. Thanks for watching, guys. I am Big and Scary. I'll see you guys around.